Introduction: The Power of Thought. What if I told you that the most powerful force shaping your life isn't your circumstances, your past, or even your habits? It's your thoughts. Every decision you make, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold, all of it is rooted in your thinking. Your thoughts create your reality, not in a magical, wish it and it appears kind of way, but in a very real, psychological, and practical way. Because what you think consistently becomes what you believe. And what you believe determines how you show up. And how you show up determines your results. This audiobook is about mastering that chain, starting from the source, starting from the thoughts. Right now, you're living in a mental environment, a constant stream of self-talk, stories, assumptions, and judgments running in the background of your mind. And whether you're aware of it or not, it's running the show. It tells you what you can and can't do. It influences how you feel about yourself. It shapes how you react to challenges, opportunities, and people. And it reinforces the identity you carry into each day. Here's the truth. Most people are thinking on autopilot. They're recycling the same old thought loops day after day. Loops they inherited. Loops they never questioned. And those loops are creating a life that feels stuck, anxious, or unfulfilled. But what happens when you take control of the loop? What happens when you become the thinker instead of just the thought? That's where transformation begins. This audiobook is your guide to doing exactly that. It's not just about thinking more positively. It's about thinking more consciously. You're going to learn how to recognize your most powerful and harmful thought patterns, understand how thoughts create emotions, and how to break that cycle, rewire your mental script through science-backed methods, build a new identity by changing the stories you tell yourself, and most of all, how to align your thinking with the life you actually want to live. This isn't just theory. This is practical, tactical, and grounded in psychology and personal growth. Each chapter is designed to challenge your current mental operating system and upgrade it. Because if you don't program your mind, the world will do it for you. So whether you're stuck in overthinking, struggling with self-doubt, or simply looking to unlock the next level of your life, it all starts here. It all starts with the way you think. You're about to reclaim your mental power. You're about to get intentional with every thought you think. And in doing that, you'll reshape not just your mindset, but your entire reality. Let's begin. Chapter 1. You're what you think. The most important relationship you'll ever have is with your own mind. Not with your job, not with your goals, not even with other people. Because all of those things, how you show up for them, how you experience them, is filtered through how you think. And the truth is, most people don't realize that their thoughts are the architects of their lives. Let's break it down. Right now, as you listen to this, you're thinking. You're forming ideas, reacting to words, agreeing or resisting. But here's the deeper layer. Those thoughts aren't random. They've been conditioned over time. Every belief you have was once just a thought, repeated enough times that your brain decided, this must be true. And once something becomes a belief, your brain starts looking for proof. It filters your reality to find evidence to support that belief. This is called confirmation bias, and we all do it. So if you believe you're not good enough, your brain will highlight every mistake. It will magnify every failure. It will ignore the wins, downplay the praise, and reinforce that inner voice that says, see, I told you so. That's not truth. That's programming. And the most dangerous part? You'll start living as if it's true. You'll make smaller decisions. You'll speak with less confidence. You'll shrink from opportunities, all because of a thought that was never questioned. You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat. But it's even more accurate to say, you are what you think. Because your thoughts shape your beliefs, emotions, decisions, habits, and ultimately, your identity, and identity is everything. You can't consistently outperform your self-image. You'll always act in alignment with who you believe you are. If you believe you're undisciplined, you'll keep breaking promises to yourself. If you believe you're not smart, you'll avoid challenges. If you believe success is for other people, you'll sabotage yourself the moment things start to go well. Not because you're broken, but because your thoughts are building a version of you that isn't rooted in truth, it's rooted in repetition. The good news? If your thoughts got you here, your thoughts can take you somewhere new. Your brain is not fixed. It's plastic, moldable, adaptable. This is the science of neuroplasticity. Your brain literally rewires itself based on what you focus on and repeat. Every time you choose a new thought, every time you challenge a limiting belief, every time you respond instead of react, you're laying down a new mental path. And with enough repetition, that path becomes your new default. That's why you don't have to fix yourself. You just need to retrain your thinking. Let's look at this practically. You wake up. Your first thought is, ugh, another long day. That one thought sends a ripple. You feel tired, unmotivated, annoyed. You scroll your phone. You skip your workout. You drag your feet into the day. The day feels heavy because it started that way in your mind. Now imagine this. Same morning. You wake up. You catch that old thought, and you flip it. This is a fresh start, a chance to move with purpose. Now you stretch. You hydrate. You put your phone away and take a deep breath. You move into your morning with clarity, and the rest of the day aligns differently. Same day, different thought, completely different experience. This isn't about ignoring reality. Don't judge them, just observe them, because you can't change what you don't track. And once you see the loop, you can rewrite it. Chapter 2. The inner voice that runs your life. There's a voice inside your head. You know it. The one that narrates your day. The one that comments on everything you do. The one that whispers doubt when you're about to try something bold. Or echoes old memories when you're simply trying to move forward. That voice, it's always speaking. And whether you realize it or not, it's been shaping your identity from the moment you became aware of it. This chapter is about that voice. Because the thoughts you think aren't just random. They're often patterns repeated over time. And the inner voice is the one carrying those patterns forward. Let's start here. Where did your inner voice come from? You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born thinking you weren't enough. You weren't born with fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of standing out. Those thoughts were installed, piece by piece, from what you saw, from what you heard, from how you were treated, from moments of embarrassment or pain that became mental tattoos. That inner voice was shaped by childhood conditioning, teachers, parents, friends, cultural norms, social media, and your most vulnerable moments. And once those thoughts were internalized, your mind turned them into a loop, a voice that seemed like your own. But here's the truth. That voice is often not you. It's a recording, a repetition of the past, a blend of old input that you never chose, but have been living by anyway. So let's break that voice down. You have 3 main voices in your head, and the one that dominates determines the direction of your life. 1. The inner critic. This is the loudest one for most people. It's the voice of doubt, shame, self-judgment. It says things like, you always mess this up. You're not as smart as them. Who do you think you are to try that? You're falling behind. This voice believes it's protecting you. By keeping you small, it keeps you safe. But in reality, it's keeping you stuck. It's not warning you. It's limiting you. You can't grow if your mind attacks you every time you try. 2. The inner coach. This voice is quieter, but more constructive. It doesn't deny challenges, it navigates them. It says, this is tough, but you've handled worse. Take a breath. Let's break it down. You've got this one step at a time. The inner coach gives feedback without shame. It motivates without manipulation. It builds you instead of breaking you. 3. The inner creator. This is the most powerful voice and often the most underused. It's the part of you that imagines what's possible, speaks life into your goals, and designs your reality with intention. It says, what if this works? You were born to do this. Let's build something bold. You're not behind. You're becoming. This voice doesn't just react to life, it creates life. Now here's the key. The voice that wins is the one you listen to the most. And that means you need to start tuning your mental frequency. Because the critic, it's always on default. But the coach and the creator, you have to consciously activate them. That means catching the critical voice when it shows up, challenging the thoughts that tear you down, choosing better words when speaking to yourself, and practicing it. Daily, your brain is listening. Every word you think is reinforcing a belief. So make your thoughts worth believing. Let's go deeper. Next time your inner critic speaks up, don't argue with it. Question it. Ask, is this true? Would I say this to someone I love? What's the evidence for this thought? What's a better thought I can choose instead? This isn't toxic positivity. This is cognitive discipline. It's how you stop letting your past dictate your future. It's how you stop living in reaction and start living in creation. And here's the beautiful part. Over time, your dominant inner voice changes. The more you reinforce the coach, the more you listen to the creator, the quieter the critic becomes. Not because it disappears, but because you've trained your attention. You've stopped feeding what drains you, and you've started building a mind that actually works with you, not against you. So here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, write down every time your inner critic speaks. Don't hide from it. Don't silence it. Just catch it. And for every criticism, write down a coaching response. Flip the script. Give your mind a better option, because you're not stuck with the voice you inherited. You can rewrite it. And when you do, your life will follow. In the next chapter, we'll explore how the mind can trap you in loops, patterns that repeat until you learn how to break them. Chapter 3. Thought loops and mental traps. Have you ever caught yourself thinking the same thing over and over again? Running the same scenario through your mind? Replaying a moment from years ago that you still can't let go of? Or worrying about something that hasn't even happened, as if your mind was stuck on repeat? That's not coincidence. That's a thought loop. And it's one of the most common and most dangerous ways our minds sabotage our growth. A thought loop is exactly what it sounds like, a repeated mental cycle that traps your energy, your emotion, and your attention. It doesn't move you forward. It just spins. You're not solving. You're not creating. You're not healing. You're just looping. And until you become conscious of these loops, they run your life in the background. Let's look at the most common mental traps people fall into. See if any of these feel familiar. 1. Rumination. This is when you replay the past again and again. You think about what you said, what you should have said, what they did, how you felt, and how you can't let it go. The brain believes if you keep thinking about it, you'll finally find relief. But you won't, because rumination is a trap with no exit, unless you create one. The truth is, you don't need to replay the past to learn from it. You just need to extract the lesson once and move forward. 2. Catastrophizing. This is when your mind jumps straight to the worst-case scenario. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if I lose everything? What if it all goes wrong? Your mind spins problems into disasters that haven't even happened, and the body responds as if they have. Stress hormones rise. Your heart races. You freeze or overreact. You become paralyzed by a future you invented but believe. Catastrophizing doesn't make you safer. It just steals your peace. 3. Comparison loops. You scroll, you compare. You watch others win and feel like you're falling behind. Why don't I have that? Why am I not there yet? What am I doing wrong? Your brain takes someone's highlight reel and uses it as proof of your inadequacy. But here's what you forget. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their best moments. Comparison isn't clarity. It's distortion, and it leads you to build a life based on someone else's scoreboard. 4. Overthinking and analysis paralysis. This is the loop of indecision, where every move feels risky, where you weigh every angle, then start over. You convince yourself that more thinking will lead to a better outcome. But what it really leads to is no outcome. Because overthinking is fear dressed up as logic. It's your mind trying to gain control in an uncontrollable world. The cure isn't more certainty. It's more action, more trust, more movement. So why does your brain do this? Because your mind is wired for survival, not happiness. It wants to avoid risk. It wants to predict pain. It wants to protect your ego. Thought loops are your brain's attempt to control what feels threatening, but they don't serve your growth. They keep you stuck in reaction mode instead of creation mode. But here's the truth. You can break the loop. You can interrupt the pattern. You can take your mind off autopilot and put it back in your hands. Here's how. Step 1. Catch the loop. Awareness is always the first step. You can't change a pattern you don't recognize. Start asking yourself, am I solving or just spinning? Is this thought helpful or just familiar? What's this loop costing me right now? The moment you name the loop, you interrupt it. Step 2. Drop into the body when the mind loops. Drop your focus into your body. Feel your breath. Notice your posture. Bring attention to your feet, your hands, your chest. This grounds you in the present, instead of floating in mental time travel. Step 3. Take small, physical action. Do something. Anything that moves you forward. Go for a walk. Write out the thought. Set a timer and make a decision. Change your environment. Even one micro-action breaks the loop and signals safety to your brain. Step 4. Choose a new thought. Once the loop is broken, you need to replace it. Your brain doesn't like a vacuum. If you don't choose your next thought, the loop will re-enter. So pick one. Instead of "I'm stuck," try "I'm figuring it out." Instead of "I always mess this up," try "I'm learning and improving." It's not about lying to yourself. It's about speaking to yourself with power, not panic. Here's your challenge. Over the next 3 days, when you feel yourself mentally looping, stop, breathe, name the pattern, and then shift it. Speak it out loud. Write it down. Move your body. Replace the thought. You'll be shocked at how many mental prisons have opened doors once you stop walking in circles. In the next chapter, we'll build on this momentum. Because once you've broken the loops, it's time to start rewriting the script. Chapter 4. Rewriting your mental script. Your mind runs on scripts. Lines of thought you've rehearsed over and over again. Sentences that have been repeated so many times, they've become subconscious. Some of them are helpful. I can figure this out. This doesn't define me. I'm allowed to grow. But many of them are the silent assassins of your potential. I always mess things up. I'm not smart enough. I'll never change. Here's the truth. If you don't rewrite your script, you'll relive your past. Not because you have to, but because your mind doesn't know how to tell a new story yet. That's what this chapter is about. Rewriting your mental script so your mind doesn't keep dragging your future into the past. Let's start here. Every time you think a thought, you reinforce a neural pathway. Your brain doesn't care if it's empowering or destructive. It just wants to conserve energy. If you've told yourself, "I'm bad with money" for years, your brain builds a shortcut to support that story. So when a financial opportunity shows up, you hesitate. When it's time to budget, you avoid it. When you earn more, you find a way to lose it. Not because you're incapable, but because your script is sabotaging your outcome. The key is this. Your life will always reflect your most consistent thoughts, not your highest intentions. And if your internal dialogue doesn't evolve, your external world never will. So it's time to rewrite the narrative. Step 1. Identify the script you're running. You can't change a story you haven't seen. Ask yourself, what's the story I tell myself about failure? About success? About relationships? About who I am and what I deserve? Grab a journal and write out your default scripts without filtering. Don't try to sound wise or positive. Just be honest. You might find thoughts like, "I always ruin good things." "I'm just not the type of person who succeeds." "If I show the real me, I'll be rejected." "If I slow down, I'll fall behind." These thoughts are not facts. They're scripts. They were written at some point, often when you were too young to question them. Now it's time to be the editor. Step 2. Choose a new script that feels possible. You don't have to go from "I'm a failure" to "I'm a millionaire genius" overnight. Your brain won't believe it, and you'll fall back into the loop. Instead, aim for believable upgrades. Try this. Instead of "I always mess things up," say, "I've made mistakes, but I'm learning." Instead of "I can't focus," say, "I'm training myself to focus better every day." Instead of "Nothing ever works out for me," say, "I'm creating a life that works, one choice at a time." Small shifts, real language, repeatable statements. That's how new mental scripts stick. Step 3. Use affirmations that work with, not against, your brain. Affirmations have gotten a bad reputation, but that's only because most people use them wrong. They say things they don't believe and wonder why nothing changes. Here's how to do it right. Keep it grounded. Use words your subconscious doesn't immediately reject. Make it present tense and active. "I'm learning," I choose to, I allow, I release, speak it often, especially when the old script shows up. Your job isn't to feel amazing after one affirmation. Your job is to train your mind like a muscle. Consistency, intensity. Step 4. Anchor your new script with emotion and action. The mind remembers what it feels. So when you repeat a new belief, feel it. Say it like you mean it. Visualize what it would feel like if it were true. Stack it with movement. Say while walking, exercising, or journaling. And then act in alignment. Because thoughts create emotion. Emotion drives action. Action reinforces thought. It's a loop, but now it's one you designed. Here's a powerful tool: mental rehearsal. Close your eyes. Visualize yourself as the version of you who believes the new script. See yourself speaking up in that meeting, setting that boundary, starting that project, showing up calm, confident, and clear. Feel what it would feel like to live from that mindset. That image, that feeling is a blueprint. And every time you rehearse it, you bring it closer to reality. Here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, choose one limiting script to rewrite. Write down the old thought. Write a new script beside it. Repeat it 5 times every morning and every night. Speak it. Feel it. Live it. You're not lying to yourself. You're leading yourself. And over time, the new voice becomes the dominant one. The default. The guide. Because here's the truth. You've always been the author. You just forgot that you had the pen. In the next chapter, we'll explore how your thoughts, feelings, and actions are connected, and how changing one creates momentum across all 3. Chapter 5. The mind, emotion, action loop. Every thought creates a ripple. It starts with a mental spark, a sentence in your head, a belief, a story. That spark creates a feeling, emotion. That emotion drives a behavior, action. And that action leads to results, which then reinforce the original thought. This is the mind, emotion, action loop. And it's running your life whether you're aware of it or not. Let's make this real. Imagine you think, I'm not good enough. That thought triggers feelings of insecurity, doubt, maybe even shame. Those feelings make you shrink. You hesitate. You procrastinate. You stay quiet. You take less action, or the wrong kind of action. And the result? You get passed over. You don't progress. You stay stuck. And that proves the original thought. See the loop? It's not just psychological. It's biological. Your thoughts influence your nervous system, your hormones, and your behavior patterns. Your brain is always scanning for alignment between what you think and how you feel. When those things match, it says, this must be true, even if it's destroying your potential. But here's the game changer. You can break the loop. You can interrupt it and reset it. Because this system works both ways. If negative thoughts create negative emotions and poor actions, then empowering thoughts create elevated emotions and bold action. And the results? They reinforce the better thought. That's how you reverse the cycle. That's how you go from spiraling to rising. Let's break down each part of the loop so you can start taking control. Brain 1. The thought. This is the beginning of everything. Whether it's conscious or subconscious, your brain is always interpreting reality. It assigns meaning to every situation. If someone doesn't text you back, your brain might think, they're ignoring me. Or, they're probably busy. One thought triggers stress. The other creates peace. Same event, different meaning, radically different experience. So, start here. Question the first thought. Is this helpful? Is this true? Is there another way to see it? Choose thoughts that move you forward, not ones that hold you hostage. Red Heart 2. The emotion. Thoughts create chemical reactions in the body. Fear, shame, confidence, gratitude. They all come from how you interpret the world. When your emotions spiral, it's often because your thoughts are feeding them nonstop. But you don't have to believe every emotion. You don't have to ride every wave. Instead, name the emotion, breathe through it, and ask, what thought is creating this? Once you see the thought behind the feeling, you take your power back. Repeat button 3. The action. Emotion drives behavior. When you feel confident, you take the risk. When you feel ashamed, you hide. When you feel grateful, you reach out. When you feel overwhelmed, you avoid. But here's where the loop can also be flipped. Action can shift emotion. You don't need to wait to feel ready. You can act your way into a new feeling. Move your body. Make the call. Clean the space. Write the idea down. Say the thing you've been avoiding. You'll be amazed at how quickly your emotions begin to follow your actions. Here's a mantra. Feelings are signals, not instructions. You can acknowledge them without obeying them. And that's where freedom begins. Putting it all together. Imagine this new loop. You think, I am learning to handle challenges. You feel empowered, focused, calm. You act with intention. You plan, execute, adapt. You succeed or grow. And now your brain believes, I can handle hard things. That's the new loop. That's self-leadership. That's what creates long-term transformation. Let's be clear, you won't be perfect. You will still have days where you spiral. You'll still fall into the old loop. But the power is in the pause. The moment you recognize the loop, that's the moment you get to choose. And over time, that choice becomes automatic. Your new normal. Here's your challenge. Catch the loop. This week, when you feel off, pause. Ask yourself, what was I just thinking? What emotion is that thought creating? What action is that emotion leading me toward? Then flip it. Choose a new thought. Breathe in a new emotion. Take one action aligned with your best self, not your reactive self. Because here's the truth. You are not the loop. You are the one who can change it. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into focus and how your attention is your most powerful tool for rewriting your mind. Chapter 6. Training your focus muscle. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Not your time, not your energy, not even your money. Because whatever you focus on grows. Whatever you give your attention to expands. Whatever you stare at long enough becomes your reality. If your focus is scattered, so is your power. If your focus is reactive, so is your mindset. If your focus is dictated by distractions, you lose the ability to direct your life with intention. That's why learning to control your focus is one of the most important skills you'll ever master. And like any skill, it's a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. The more you neglect it, the weaker it becomes. Let's be honest, we're living in the age of distraction. Your attention is being pulled in every direction. Notifications, social media, endless tabs, ads, noise, drama. You're not just battling procrastination. You're battling an entire attention economy designed to keep you unfocused. So if you've struggled to stay present, to finish what you start, to hold a thought long enough to act on it, it's not because you're lazy or broken. It's because your focus hasn't been trained yet. That changes now. Step 1. Understand where your focus is going. You can't change what you don't track. So ask yourself, what steals my attention daily? What apps, people, or habits leave me feeling mentally drained? What moments do I catch myself scrolling, zoning out, or multitasking mindlessly? Awareness is your first defense. When you know your triggers, you can start setting boundaries. Remember, what you focus on teaches your brain what matters. If you spend all day feeding on negativity, outrage, or shallow entertainment, your mind will prioritize survival over creativity, fear over faith, numbness over action. But if you start feeding your focus high-quality input, deep thought, clarity, intentional action, your brain begins to follow that lead. Step 2. Single task like it's sacred. Multitasking is a myth. You're not doing more. You're switching faster and thinking worse. Every time you switch tasks, your brain loses momentum. It takes energy to refocus. And over time, that energy drain compounds. Train yourself to do one thing at a time, fully. Set a timer. Put your phone away. Pick one task and go all in. Even 20 minutes of pure, uninterrupted focus will outperform hours of distracted effort. Because quality focus creates quality results. And quality results build confidence. And confidence fuels even deeper focus. Step 3. Build a focus ritual. If you want to make focus a habit, you need a ritual, something that tells your brain it's time to lock in. Your ritual might look like clearing your workspace, making a cup of tea or coffee, putting on instrumental music, setting a timer, taking 3 deep breaths. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. Ritual builds repetition. Repetition builds routine. And routine builds mastery. Step 4. Guard your inputs. Your mind becomes what it consumes. So if you want clearer thoughts, you need a cleaner mental environment. That means unfollowing accounts that drain you, turning off unnecessary notifications, choosing 1 hour a day with no screens, replacing shallow consumption with deep learning, reading, or reflection. You don't have to live off the grid. You just have to filter the noise. Because the more noise you allow in, the harder it becomes to hear your own thoughts. And your thoughts are the beginning of everything. Step 5. Practice mental presence. Focus isn't just about getting things done. It's about being fully here, right now. Try this simple practice. When you're in conversation, give the other person your full attention. When you eat, just eat. No phone, no TV. When you walk, just walk. Feel your feet, your breath, the air. The more present you become in the small things, the easier it becomes to stay present when it matters most. Presence is the root of power, because when you're fully here, you stop reacting, you start creating. Focus is a form of self-respect. When you direct your attention with purpose, you tell yourself, my goals matter, my mind matters, my time matters. It's not about being perfect. It's about being deliberate. One focused hour, one focused conversation, one focused intention. That's all it takes to begin. Here's your challenge. For the next 5 days, create one focused block per day. 30 minutes minimum. No phone. One task. Full presence. Track how you feel afterward. Notice the clarity. Notice the energy. Notice how your brain starts craving the stillness, the direction. Because focus feels good. Focus feels like control. Focus feels like freedom. In the next chapter, we'll explore how your thoughts shape your identity and how to change who you are by changing what you believe. Chapter 7. Identity, Belief, and Self-Image. If you want to change your life, you can't just change your habits. You can't just change your goals. You have to change the way you see yourself. Because your identity, the story you believe about who you are, sets the ceiling for everything else. You'll never rise consistently above the level of your self-image. You might spike temporarily. You might force a breakthrough. But if your internal identity doesn't match your external ambition, you'll sabotage. You'll shrink. You'll snap back to what feels familiar, not what's possible. Let's get one thing straight. You are not your circumstances. You are not your past. You are not your habits. You are what you believe you are, over and over and over again. So if you believe you're a procrastinator, you'll behave like one, even if you have time. If you believe you're not disciplined, you'll skip the gym, avoid routines, and reinforce that belief. If you believe you're socially awkward, you'll carry tension into every room, even if no one notices but you. These behaviors aren't proof of who you are. They're evidence of what you believe about who you are. Here's the dangerous part. Most of your beliefs about yourself were formed without your permission. From childhood, from trauma, from a bad teacher, a hurtful comment, a failed attempt. And over time, you repeated the message so often it became identity. But identity is not fixed. It's not locked. It's not fate. Identity is a story, and stories can be rewritten. The power of I am. Every time you say, I am, you're speaking directly to your subconscious. You're building identity. So if you say, I am lazy, I am anxious, I'm not good with money, I'm not a people person, I'm always behind, you're not describing yourself. You're programming yourself. The brain listens, and it works hard to stay consistent with who you say you are. But when you flip that script even slightly, the rewiring begins. Try saying, I am becoming more focused. I am learning to lead with calm. I'm showing up for myself every day. I am training discipline, one small win at a time. Your identity doesn't have to be a destination. It can be a direction. How identity drives behavior, your actions follow identity, always. You don't just act your way into a new identity. You believe your way into new actions. If you identify as a writer, you'll write. If you see yourself as healthy, you'll make better food choices. If you believe you're resilient, you'll recover faster from setbacks. Identity leads. Behavior follows. Results reinforce. This is why lasting change doesn't come from motivation. It comes from alignment. When your behavior lines up with your identity, everything clicks. But when they're at war, you'll always feel blocked. How to rebuild your self-image? Let's walk through a framework to rewire how you see yourself. 1. Uncover the old identity. Ask, what do I believe about myself that's holding me back? Who do I think I am when no one's watching? Where did that belief come from? And is it still serving me? You don't need to judge it. You just need to see it. Awareness is the first crack in the armor. 2. Define the new identity. Don't focus on what you want to achieve. Focus on who you want to become. Ask, who do I want to be when challenges hit? How would the most grounded, powerful version of me think, speak, and act? What would someone with the life I want believe about themselves? Write it down. Give it language. Give it life. 3. Collect evidence for the new identity. Your brain needs proof. So get it some. Start stacking small wins. Show up early. Finish a task you've been avoiding. Speak up when you usually stay quiet. Keep a promise to yourself, even a tiny one. Every small action becomes evidence. I am that kind of person. Over time, you stop acting like your future self. You become them. 4. Repeat the identity daily, just like affirmations. Your self-image needs repetition. Look in the mirror and say, I am becoming more focused, more present, more in control of my life. Write it down. Visualize it. Speak it. Let your brain hear a new voice every single day. The old identity isn't evil. It's just outdated. And now you've got the power to upgrade it. Final truth. Identity isn't discovered. It's designed. You don't need to wait for life to show you who you are. You get to decide. You get to pick the kind of person you want to be, and then build your days around that decision. Every thought you think, every belief you challenge, every action you take is shaping the image you hold of yourself. So make it intentional. Make it aligned. Make it empowering, because you already have what it takes. You just need to believe it long enough for it to become who you are. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the subconscious and show you how to reprogram the beliefs running beneath the surface. Chapter 8. Reprogramming your subconscious. What if I told you that the majority of your behavior isn't happening consciously? That no matter how motivated, disciplined, or self-aware you think you are, roughly 95% of your thoughts, decisions, and actions are being run by a subconscious script? This is the part of your mind that doesn't speak out loud. It doesn't argue. It doesn't debate. It just executes. And unless you reprogram that internal code, you'll keep waking up to the same habits, same emotional triggers, same results, even if you know better. This chapter is about changing that, because the key to real transformation is found beneath the surface. What is the subconscious? Your subconscious mind is the mental operating system behind everything you do. It's where your habits live, your core beliefs, your emotional reactions, your body language, your sense of identity, your decision-making biases, your fears, your internal ceiling for success, love, wealth, and self-worth. And here's the kicker. It was mostly programmed by the time you're 7 years old. That's when your brain was in what scientists call a theta state, highly impressionable, sponge-like, emotionally receptive. You absorbed everything, the way your parents spoke, what they said about money, what teachers told you about your intelligence, how the world responded when you failed or asked questions or tried something bold. And those moments, especially the painful ones, turned into beliefs. Beliefs your subconscious still runs to this day. So while your conscious mind sets goals, your subconscious decides if you're allowed to reach them. And if your conscious goal is out of alignment with your subconscious belief, guess who wins? The subconscious. Every time. That's why change can feel so hard. Because you're using willpower to fight a script that's running 24/7 in the background. You're trying to sprint with your foot on the brake. Trying to fly with weights tied to your wings. Try to rise with an anchor pulling you down. Until you remove the programming, you're just recycling the past with new paint. So how do you reprogram it? You have to get past the gatekeeper, the conscious mind. And that requires 3 things: repetition, emotion, and access. Let's break them down. 1. Repetition. Your subconscious learns through repetition. Not once, not twice, but hundreds, sometimes thousands of times. That's how you learned your name. How you learned to walk, speak, drive, brush your teeth. All of it is subconscious now because of repetition plus emotion. So if you want to install a new belief like, I am worthy, I can succeed, or I'm capable of change, you need to repeat it until your subconscious accepts it as normal. This is where affirmations, scripting, and mental rehearsal come in. Not to fake confidence, but to build new neurological pathways. The more you hear it, see it, feel it, the more your subconscious says, this must be who I am now. 2. Emotion. Your subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to feeling. That's why trauma imprints so deeply, because the emotion is intense. But this also works in your favor. When you visualize a future with emotion, when you feel the success, the peace, the confidence, you're impressing it onto your subconscious more powerfully than any journal entry. So don't just say the new belief. Feel it. Embody it. Attach emotion to it. This makes the programming stick. 3. Access. You reach the subconscious most easily when the conscious mind is relaxed. This is why the morning, the evening, and the moments before sleep are so powerful. When you're drowsy or still, your brain slips into a theta state, the same state it was in during childhood. That's your window. So instead of scrolling your phone before bed, speak your affirmations. Visualize your goals. Listen to your new mental script. Breathe. Relax. Let the new message sink in. This isn't just mindset work, it's mental rewiring. Hammer and wrench tools to reprogram your subconscious. Here are some practical methods you can start using today. Scripting. Write your ideal day, identity, or belief in present tense daily. Example. I wake up calm, focused, and clear. I trust myself to handle anything. Affirmations plus visualization. Choose 3 to 5 empowering beliefs. Repeat them slowly. Visualize yourself living them out. Sleep audio. Listen to positive, reprogramming affirmations or guided meditations while falling asleep. Pattern interrupts. When the old belief shows up, stop. Snap a finger. Clap. Breathe. Replace the thought immediately with your new script. Environmental triggers. Place reminders around you. Post-its, lock screens, alarms to reinforce the new belief throughout your day. Final truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe. You can have a vision board filled with dreams. But if your subconscious believes you're not enough, not ready, or not worthy, you'll block it, delay it, or sabotage it. So work from the inside out. Upgrade your beliefs. Flood your subconscious with new proof. Give it the repetition, emotion, and access it needs. And then watch what happens when your inner identity finally matches your outer intention. Here's your challenge. For the next 7 nights, take 5 minutes before bed. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Visualize yourself living as the version of you who already has the belief you want. Feel it. Repeat it. Let it become familiar. That's how reprogramming starts. Not with effort, but with intention. Not with force, but with alignment. You are not stuck with the software you inherited. You can rewrite it. And when you do, everything changes. In the next chapter, we bring it all together. Because thoughts without aligned action are potential, not power. Chapter 9. Thoughts into reality. Action and alignment. Thoughts are powerful, but they're not enough. No matter how clear your vision is, no matter how deeply you believe it, no matter how many times you visualize, affirm, or reprogram, nothing changes until you move. Because thoughts create possibility, but action creates transformation. Let's be clear. Mindset is your foundation, but action is your execution. And without aligned action, your thoughts are just potential energy, never activated. You don't need more affirmations if you're not taking steps. You don't need more clarity if you're not using it. You don't need to feel ready. You need to start walking. This chapter is about bridging that gap between what you think and what you do. Because when your actions align with your thoughts, you become unstoppable. Why action is the mirror of belief. Here's the truth. Your behavior will always reveal what you truly believe. You can say, I'm confident, but if you avoid speaking up, your actions say otherwise. You can affirm, "I'm disciplined," but if you keep hitting snooze, your actions aren't aligned. It's not about judgment. It's about awareness. If your actions and thoughts are out of sync, you won't feel clear. You'll feel stuck. And the fix isn't to beat yourself up. The fix is to recalibrate. Start asking, what action would someone with this mindset take right now? Then go do it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's messy, even if it's small. That's how beliefs lock in. Action is the proof your subconscious needs. The thought, emotion, action loop. Revisited, we talked earlier about how thoughts create emotions. Emotions drive actions, and actions create results. Now let's flip it. Actions can also change emotions and reinforce thoughts. You don't wait to feel confident. You act first, and confidence follows. You don't wait to feel motivated. You start, and momentum creates the motivation. You don't wait for clarity. You move through confusion until clarity appears. This is what makes aligned action so powerful. It doesn't just reflect your beliefs, it reshapes them. Small aligned actions build massive results. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. The key isn't taking massive action once. It's taking small, consistent steps every day that are aligned with who you're becoming. This is the power of identity-based action. Don't just ask, what do I need to do today? Ask, what would the person I want to become do today? Would they hit snooze or wake up on time? Would they avoid that task or face it directly? Would they delay the conversation or speak with clarity? When you act like the future version of yourself, you train your brain to believe that's who you are now. And over time, the actions become habits. The habits become identity. And the identity becomes your new reality. Stop waiting. Start aligning. Waiting for the perfect moment is the fastest way to stay stuck. Waiting for certainty. Waiting for confidence. Waiting for the fear to go away. But action doesn't require perfection. It requires alignment. Here's how to start aligning your actions with your thoughts. 1. Set a daily intention each morning. Ask, what action today would reflect the mindset I'm building? Keep it simple. One sentence. Example. Today I will speak with confidence. Today I will complete one uncomfortable task. Today I will move even when I don't feel like it. 2. Time block your intentions. Give your priorities a place in your calendar. Don't leave action to chance. Make it visible, specific, and scheduled. Example, 9 a.m. Write content 12 p.m. Workout 6 p.m. Deep work. No phone. Your calendar becomes a mirror of your mindset. 3. Celebrate the evidence each time you follow through. Even a small step, acknowledge it. Say to yourself, that's proof. I am becoming the person I've been thinking about. Reinforce it. Feel it. Lock it in. Don't just celebrate results. Celebrate the behavior. That's how identity sticks. For course correct, without judgment, you will fall off track. You will procrastinate sometimes. You will slip. But slipping isn't failure. It's feedback. Ask, what can I learn from this? How can I get back into alignment quickly? Then move. No guilt, no drama. Just realignment. Because consistency isn't about never failing. It's about never quitting. Final truth. You become what you repeatedly do. You don't build a powerful life by thinking harder. You build it by acting in alignment, over and over again. Thoughts are the spark. Actions are the flame. Keep feeding the fire. Let every step reinforce who you're becoming. Let every choice reflect the identity you're stepping into. Let your behavior prove your belief. This is how you change your life. Not just by thinking new thoughts, but by living them. Here's your challenge. For the next 3 days, choose one aligned action each morning. Write it down. Do it, no matter how small. At the end of each day, reflect. How did that action reinforce my new mindset? You'll be shocked at how fast momentum builds when your mind and movement are finally in sync. In the next chapter, we bring it all together. Because mastering your thoughts isn't just a mental exercise. It's the foundation for lifelong personal power. Chapter 10. Becoming the creator of your life. This entire journey has been about one core truth. Your life isn't just happening to you. You are not a passive observer. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not trapped by your past, your environment, or your genetics. You are the creator. Your thoughts are the blueprint. Your emotions are the fuel. Your actions are the construction. And your results are the reality you've been building, one belief, one decision, one pattern at a time. This final chapter is a reminder, a call to responsibility, and a return to power. Most people go through life unconsciously reacting to their surroundings. They repeat the same day over and over again, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, taking the same actions, and wondering why nothing changes. They live by default when they were designed to live by design. But not you. Not anymore. Because now you understand how this works. Now you have the awareness. Now you can choose your response. Now you can reset your thoughts when they drift off course. Now you can redirect your focus, challenge old beliefs, align your actions, and shift your identity. That is the role of the creator. The creator doesn't wait for permission. The creator doesn't blame. The creator doesn't ask, why me? The creator asks, what now? You can take everything you've learned in this audiobook and ignore it, letting your old patterns slowly pull you back into comfort. Or you can use it. You can integrate it. You can walk into your life with your eyes open, your mind aware, your habits aligned, and your purpose intact. And when things get hard, and they will, you'll remember that you're still in control of the one thing no challenge can take from you, your mind. Being the creator means taking ownership of your thoughts before they turn into emotional storms. It means noticing when the critic shows up and choosing the coach instead. It means choosing growth over comfort, clarity over noise, and alignment over speed. It means being intentional with your mornings, with your focus, with your words, with your attention. It means showing up even when the results don't come right away. It means trusting that your inner work is always building something, even when the outside world hasn't caught up yet. You're no longer here to react. You're here to build. Let's recap what you've now learned to master. You've learned that your thoughts shape your reality, and that most of your thinking has been automatic, conditioned, and unchallenged. You've learned how to identify and interrupt thought loops that keep you stuck. You've learned how to rewrite your mental script through repetition, emotion, and aligned action. You've learned how to use affirmations and visualization, not as fluffy motivation, but as tools to reprogram your subconscious. You've learned how your thoughts, emotions, and actions are interconnected, and how to use that loop to your advantage. You've learned how to build a new identity, one that reflects the person you are becoming, not the version you've outgrown. And you've learned how to turn thoughts into consistent behavior, and consistent behavior into transformation. Now it's time to live it. No one's coming to do the work for you. There's no secret formula, no guaranteed timeline. But there is power in this moment, because you now know how to use your mind to shape your life. You no longer need to chase confidence. You can build it. You no longer need to wait for clarity. You can create it. You no longer need to repeat the past. You can design the future. That's what this has all been leading toward. You are not the person you were when you started this audiobook. You think differently. You see differently. You believe differently. Now, the only question left is, will you live differently? Here's your final challenge. Every morning, for the next 30 days, before you touch your phone, before you check your notifications, ask yourself this one question: what would the creator version of me do today? Then do it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's small, even if no one else sees it. Because the creator doesn't need applause. The creator needs alignment. And when your thoughts, your energy, your words, and your actions move in the same direction, you become a force the world can't ignore. This is the power of thought. Not just to wish, but to shape. Not just to hope, but to build. Not just to imagine, but to live. So go forward now, not as a reactor, not as a dreamer, but as a deliberate creator. Your life isn't waiting. It's responding. And it's time for it to respond to a new you. Let's create.